Has Google changed? And more specifically, has Google Ads changed the way that we generate water damage work? Let's discuss it. If it were true that Google has changed over the last year or two, we would expect to see three things happening. We should see their ad revenue decrease, their market share decrease, and some sort of AI dominance in the search results screen. Let's talk about Google advertising revenue first. What you're seeing on the screen is the last 10 years of Google's ad revenue. If you notice, last year they made $265 billion compared to 2020, where they only made $146 billion. So this chart shows us that ad revenue continues to grow year over year. More people are clicking on ads and more people are spending money on ads. Now, market share. Who owns the market share of search? It's definitely Google. The one metric that hasn't changed with Google, probably in the last 12 to 15 years, is market share. They consistently are 90% of the world market share for search. By comparison, Bing is in a close second with 3.96% of market share. Now let's talk about AI dominance. What we should be seeing in search are nothing but AI results if this idea that Google has changed is true. This is an AI overview. Google enabled this in May of 2024. What's an AI overview, you ask? It's really just a regurgitation of what already shows on the first page of Google. Here are the numbers showing Google's revenue for search compared to properties like YouTube. Notice that these numbers are in the millions. Google's not going to mess with this. Every year that paid search revenue increases, again, year over year over year. They're not going to let AI come in and disrupt that revenue stream. If you're part of Google's board, and you know your revenue numbers for the last several years, and you know that huge increase is happening year over year over year, you'd have to ask yourself, are you going to let AI negatively impact your cash cow? In my mind, the answer is pretty simple. You're not going to let AI impact your advertising revenue at all. Then you may have a question about AI and Google Ads working together. The truth is Google has used automation in Google Ads and the platform itself for probably close to 10 years. I've joked often and said a chimp could run an ad account, and that's very, very true. Google absolutely wants you using all of their automation and AI tools. They don't want you thinking about how your ads work, if they actually generate a return on an investment. They just want you spending money with the platform. If anything, the addition of AI and more automation in Google Ads, it argues more for the case of having an actual expert manage your Google ad account. Now, if you're seriously concerned about AI and AI overview taking over the search results page on Google, then you should be spending a lot more money on SEO, because again, that's good SEO is what helps you show up in that AI overview. Let's look at this Google search. Every result it gives you in the AI overview is just a link to a website that's already on the first page of Google. We've got links here, links here, links here, and there. Guess what? They're all marketing agencies trying to get your business. They've done really, really good SEO over the years, and that's what AI is using to compile its overview, its results, what we perceive for some reason to be smarter than our own research. It's just a regurgitation. So what has changed if it's not Google and Google Ads? Well, I've got a 90-minute video, an interview I did with Clark Brown about the slump. And I broke that up into, 9, 10, 11 different videos if you want to get, kind of nuanced in these different takes I've got on really why 2024 and now 2025 has been slow for the industry. I won't regurgitate that here, but you can check that out. It's probably a recommended video on this video that you're watching now. The economy definitely plays into why the industry is slow. People don't have money for a deductible. They're scared of their rates increasing. They may have already been kicked off that homeowner's policy by their insurer. I know I have. I've been kicked off 2 different insurers over the last 3 years simply because they're done with residential homeowners policies. We have seen these same slowdowns over the last 20 years in this business. It happened in 08 and 09. It happened again in around 2013, 2014. These ruts, these slumps, they happen. And the good news is we always recover. Insurers have changed. Whole insurers are pulling out of states because they don't want to insure residential properties any longer. Premiums are at an all-time high. And then there's the matter of your competitors. More people than ever are spending ad dollars on Google. Anytime the industry is naturally slow, advertising costs increase. It's a supply and demand type situation. And lastly, what hasn't changed probably is your website. If you haven't updated your website in a couple of years, it's very possible that your website is failing to convert the traffic that does find your website. So assuming you're doing some pay-per-click ads, you're doing SEO, you're doing the right things to bring people into your website, maybe your website's broken. Maybe it's just really crappy. That's something you have to look at every couple of years. Does your website communicate efficiently and convert website traffic into phone calls? Let's look at a couple of interesting data points for our industry. Nationally, average cost per click is $4.66. Compared to the average cost per acquisition or the cost per lead, almost $67. Now compare our average cost per click, $65, $75, $125 per click versus our cost per acquisition. Sometimes we complain about the cost of getting that job in. When compared to other industries, our cost per acquisition is pretty affordable. How do we compare with other industries? Legal is expensive, car insurance is expensive. We're such a niche industry that it's hard to get data, especially published data, on what our average cost per click rates are. But to answer the question, are people still using Google Ads? Let's look at this. These are 2 super common keywords, and we're looking at the last 10 years of data for these keywords. Notice nothing really changed up until this year. Other than a blip in 2021 when search volume increased, things were pretty normal. So during the time where you thought pay-per-click was working for you, the volume didn't change that much. What's interesting is this huge leap in 2025. So we don't have an ad issue or a search volume issue. We have a people issue. People are searching and they're not converting. You have to then ask yourself why. They've searched on Google, they found your website, why aren't they calling you? The ads did their job, they got them to the website, but they're still not calling. I'd argue we're still in a down economy and insurers are making these crazy changes and inflating premium prices. That's what's changed. That's why they're not calling. And advertising costs have increased because everybody's slow and they're all putting more money into advertising. So what can you do? This is the time to double down on getting reviews. Go back in your customer database 6 months or 12 months and ask your customers for reviews. The companies with the most and best reviews are the ones that are going to ride this storm out. They're going to come out on the other side even better prepared for the next 5 and 10 years of their business. Invest in things like social media management. Social media is a great form of passive leads. It's not gangbusters. You're not going to get, leads and leads and leads each week, but leads do come through things like Facebook and Instagram. It's usually customers who have had a bad experience in the past, and before they make that phone call to that restoration company, they check with their aunt or their grandma and ask them about the company they used a year or 2 ago and how their experience was. SEO, same thing. You want to show up in that AI overview, you've got to have really, really good active monthly managed SEO. By all means, if you have the cash month to month, Keep investing in pay-per-click. There is a little less competition today than there was 6 months ago or 12 months ago. Because work is slow, a lot of your competitors just don't have the cash supply that they normally have. Explore tools like geofencing. That's a great form of advertising where you can pinpoint folks that are good referral partners, like plumbers and property managers, etc. I certainly don't want my clients spending money on pay-per-click if they don't have the cash to sustain that. It is an expensive environment. You're literally buying your way to the top of Google. Of course, it's going to be expensive. When times are tough, the weak companies usually don't survive. I'm Jonathan Grubb. I'm the founder and president of United Restorers. I've been in this business since 2009. I started United Restorers in 2013. We are pioneers in the digital advertising space.